can see. On your agenda, you'll see this. This is what we're going to be doing. And we're moving towards figuring out what we're all going to do in this next year. And part of what we have to do is we all can come up with what we're going to do in Tanzania, and what we're going to do in Kenya, what we're going to do on the river, what we're going to do on the bank. But we got to figure out how the balloons are going to go across the river and the bank. And are we going to end up with more balloons on one side, more balloons on the other? So the idea is we have to think about this, about how we work together to make sure we end up with all the balloons in the right place. So to cross that border, to cross this line, we have a lot of issues. We've got over 20 of them. But some are smaller, some are bigger, some are more important, some are less important. We don't know right now as a group what's the most important thing for us to pay attention to, or do we ignore it altogether? So that's what we're doing next. The way we're going to do that is through breakout sessions. How many people here have never been to a workshop before? Is this your first workshop? Raise your hand. Is this your first workshop? Everyone's been to a workshop? Really? Great. How many people have been to a workshop and have participated in a breakout session? Raise your hand. Okay. Most people, but not all. So a breakout session is we're going to break apart into groups and go talk about things and then come back. So what we're going to do is, what are we going to break out and talk about, and what are we going to do when we come back? These are a list of all of the issues we all agreed on. So our question is, what are the most important or most significant issues that we need to address, we, us, when working with livestock and herders that cross this border? What are those things? What are the issues? But more importantly, after you identify what's most important, and I would suggest you don't want to have 27 most important, you want to have a small set. And if you remember, we have this little rule over here which is about communication, but it's also about prioritization. What do we need to address those issues? What do we as a team need to do? And what do us as a collective need to do? So, there are going to be 3 breakout groups, and I'm going to propose they are the following. There's the people that are working on grazing management. Those are the grazing coordinator supervisors from the 2 projects. Okay? And grazing coordinators. Then there are the social, political issues that have to do with different countries, and those are the project and country coordinators. Then we have the people working on monitoring and evaluation. So that's the ecological and the social, and I'm going to say financial people are in a group. And if you're not sure what group you go into, you can ask, but what I'm going to suggest is, I'm going to do this. Every driver, raise your hand. How many drivers do we have? 3 drivers. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Okay? Breakout group 1, breakout group 2, breakout group 3. All right? We'll just split you. So those are the 3 groups. So you're gathered together because of somewhat similar things, and you will come up with what you believe are the 5 plus or minus 2 most important things. You get a gold star from me if you are on the minus 2 side, on the 3 side. You get a yellow star if you're at 5, and you don't get a star at all if you're at 7, but you can go to 7. But do not pick more than 7 things. Do not identify more than 7 things. Ideally, about 3. That's the task. So how do you do this, and where are you going to go? All right? Here is my guidance for you. My first thing is, before you leave this room, everyone take a photo of that, because that's your baseline. That's the knowledge we all share. We're all starting from the same place. That was how many?
8. But so we first highlight the top issues that are priority to us, but we prioritize and pick the first 3.
Okay.
So the first 3 that we focus on were 1, governance, or solution for that was 1, a baseline survey using the existing governance tool like say IMET and any other tool that a member of this team can propose. Second was data collection and information sharing, and the proposed action for that was 1, streamlining the system of data collection. 2 was integrating the system of data collection between the 2 project areas, that is in Pelleto and Longido and Tuli.
Sorry, I'm just typing here. So first you said streamlining data collection, but then what's the second thing you said?
The second thing I said was integrating the system of
Integrating.
Yes.
Got it.
Then the third one is packaging of the information in a manner that is consumable to the final consumer or the target audience. So that as we go to the communities, we package the information in a way that is consumable to that final consumer of the information. And then FP, the rules, and any other international policy on data security. And finally on that is exchange or exposure learning visits between the 2 countries so that we can learn from each other. And then on currency, they say we will need to do an annual budget plan, and the currency should be in US dollars so that in case there are fluctuation, it's factored in when it is in US dollar. And also flexibility of the budget, because at the moment we are experiencing fluctuation in terms of currencies. And there was another thing that I will invite some of my team members to speak about. One is wildlife corridors, or wildlife generally, which I will invite Wilson and Dipali. And then the invasive species, I will invite Emilian and Professor Jeffrey.
Well, the main objective for Solve for the Future, both Tanzania and Africa, Kenya, is mostly on livestock. But we should all bring ourselves back to our friends or let's say companies that Solve for the Future works with. So the word biodiversity. Who understands what biodiversity means? Any question? Anybody who does understand what is biodiversity? Professor?
It's just the variety and variability among living organisms.
Anybody else? You know, biodiversity is derived between 2 words, the bio and diversity. So they're just being brought together. So how Professor explained, bio encompasses all the living. You're also thinking to be maybe an extra carbon offset. We started, or many companies started with the forest carbon above ground. Now, Solve for the Future is on the below ground SOC, and there will be a time some companies would also think of starting the bio credits. You get that? So it is important for us as well to try to mitigate closer link between the two countries, because our wildlife are found in abundance, and we would also like them to be in abundance and to be well distributed in the core areas of operation. So you see, Amboseli is within a larger big area of Bulului. So we also have other concession areas, conservation areas that are also closer to Munduli, Longido. So
grazing management, community bylaws, drought, livestock diseases, and invasive species. But from there,
Oh, yeah, okay, so that's right.
yes, we majored on 4 priorities. That is grazing management, drought, livestock diseases, and invasive species. Our solution for grazing management. 1 is to develop shared grazing plans for both sides. Second, formation of advisory joint committees. Third, to establish of border liaison offices. We have to establish liaison offices for both sides. Let's say for Kenya and one for Tanzania. Another thing, in the community meetings, we have to have the community meetings. The last solution for grazing management, data collection. We have focused data collection as a key for a major thing there, because you can track livestock numbers, all those kind of things, then you document all of them. So it represents data collection. Second, on drought, we thought of creating awareness on drought, adaptation, and mitigation. Another thing, the community or locals to adhere to grazing plans. That's the way of making them on toes on drought. Livestock diseases. First, we have to list the transporter livestock diseases. That is, for example, FMD, anthrax, LSD, CCPP, CPPP. I hope if you are vet, you know those terms. But if you are not, you can see clarity from Kuya. Then from
I
there,
didn't know how many C's, P's, and D's I had.
so another thing, we have to come up with annual vaccination calendar for both sides. So if in case there is an issue of our livestock migrating from Kenya to Tanzania, or Tanzanian livestock migrating to Kenya, you have first to vaccinate your animals, to make sure that they are vaccinated. Then from there, to provide an evidence that you have vaccinated your animals. Then from there, you are allowed to move your animals to another country. Invasive species. First, as said earlier by I hope Dr. Sokram, is to identify the NGOs to partner with or to collaborate who are doing the same. Another thing is to create awareness. You see, we have to create awareness to local communities, the effects of those invasive species. Another thing, we have to identify invasive species from each area or location. Like, for example, if I mention where I come from, let's say Bulului. From Bulului, which species is this affecting these people? Maybe it is a Icomea, then I list down. If I go to another woodland, maybe it's acacia. You say acacia what? Yes. So we have first to list all the kind of species, then from there we go on.
So my group was tackling social and political issues, and we have been able to come up with shared grazing, permit shared grazing, governance, coordination, collaboration, That's one, governance, coordination, and collaboration with China. Incitement by local leaders, livestock diseases, land tenure system, and government policies. So,
Sorry, was that, how many in total? I'm just trying to get it down here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, so shared grazing is the first one.
Yes.
Governance and coordination and collaboration is the second one.
Yeah.
What is the third one?
Government policies,
Government policies.
land tenure system.
Government policies. Is that meaning land tenure systems or is that different?
We have
What's the fourth one?
so shared grazing, governance, incitement by local leaders, livestock diseases, land tenure
Oh,
system.
sorry, so the third one was incitement by local communities. Sorry, I missed that one. And then the fourth one was what?
Fourth one was livestock diseases,
Livestock diseases. And the fifth one?
land tenure system,
Diseases. The fifth one was land.
government policies.
Land.
And we have
Sorry,
marked
it was land tenure what?
land tenure system, land
Tenure system. And the last one was government policies.
Yes.
Okay, great. Sorry, I just want to make sure I
So we
get it
have
right.
taken my seriously.
Let's do it. He gets 15 seconds.
So we have merged shared grazing and land tenure system because we need land to be able to graze and we need land to have grass to manage. So we merged those two. So first of all we were trying to understand the problem. How is sharing grazing and land tenure system a problem? So it's a problem or it's an issue because land is communal in Tanzania, which means there's no restriction. And land in Kenya is private, and there could be some restrictions in terms of grazing. And there is also massive sale of land in Kenya, which may probably people who are buying land might end up using land for other purposes and not for pastoralism. So that's why, like agriculture, for example, and this diminishes the grazing fields, and that is why it is an issue. So solution for that is that the creation of awareness on the importance of participating in the project and explaining the potential benefit of the project, and we expect that this reduces land sale and creates space for livestock, and also build capacity for local communities and encourage local government to enforce the laws. Like for example, in Kajiado we have recently launched a government program. It's called CIDP, the County Integrated Development Plan, which identify land for various uses. So we could encourage local government to try and enforce the rules. In TZ, we will encourage villagers to stick to their village land use plan for purposes of sustaining their grasslands. On governance, coordination and stakeholder analysis, why is governance a problem? Might be a problem because of the lack of knowledge. For example, we might be having resources like grasses and we are not able to manage because we don't have the knowledge. Some people might take advantage of the others and start using the resources for their personal good. The solution to that is to identify the various stakeholders or organizations in the world landscape, Tanzania and Kenya, whose activities complement our work. Again, so that we can work together, identify the most relevant out of the stakeholders law or list that we come up with. We identify the most relevant to our work using the stakeholder law analysis, and then together we design an engagement strategy example, to do partnership in various activities. The other one is together with the stakeholders, bring community together, build capacity for governance and coordination, particularly in the use of water, grass, and other resources. On incitement of local leaders. So how is this an issue or a problem? Demands. It's an issue because of demands. Demands that are unrealistic. It's also an issue because of misinformation. Other stakeholders or other organizations don't realize about the project. And also can be from political differences. So on demand, we need to create awareness on the project activities and address what is possible. Also need to educate community to focus more on long-term benefit than short-term benefit. On misinformation, we need to create awareness and be consistent in our communication always. And that is through practicing positive messaging. Make sure that whatever you communicate is always positive. On political differences can be local and can be international. So this can be addressed independently using correct and appropriate channels. For international, we use correct administrative units of position put in place, and for local, we use local approaches. Common project issues fall under office of the Vice President in Tanzania, and this project also touches on livestock and land and environment, so the possibility of another government department coming in. So government project in Kenya found a Ministry of Environment. Still, in both countries, laws are not that established. So there are not clear lines defined as far as the law is concerned. So that's why policies are issued when it comes to the government project. And the vision is to make recommendation to the government based on what is suitable for our project for both countries. Continuous engagement with local and national government to create a good working relationship to ease the process of collective business and also the process we can build trust.